Have you ever wondered why some children display exceptional talents at such a young age? Or why we sometimes feel an inexplicable connection to a stranger or place? These mysteries have captivated human minds for generations. In today's exploration, we delve into the profound concept of rebirth, as explained by the Buddha himself. Through many lifetimes, from joy to sorrow, from blissful states to challenges, what we experience is far from coincidence. Join us as we uncover the timeless wisdom that explains why our present is intimately tied to our past, and how this cycle influences everything we know about our lives and the world around us. A. Reasons to believe in rebirth. I recalled my varied lot in former existences. Majjhima Nikaya. How are we to believe in rebirth? The Buddha is our greatest authority on rebirth. On the very night of his enlightenment, during the first watch, the Buddha developed retrocognitive knowledge, which enabled him to read his past lives. I recalled, he declares, my varied lot in former existences as follows. First 1 life, then 2 lives, then 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, up to 50 lives, then 100, 1,000, 100,000, and so forth. During the second watch, the Buddha, with clairvoyant vision, perceived beings disappearing from one state of existence and reappearing in another. He beheld the base and the noble, the beautiful and the ugly, the happy and the miserable, passing according to their deeds. These are the very first utterances of the Buddha regarding the question of rebirth. The textual references conclusively prove that the Buddha did not borrow this stern truth of rebirth from any pre-existing source, but spoke from personal knowledge, a knowledge which was supernormal, developed by himself, and which could be developed by others as well. In his first paean of joy, the Buddha says, "Through many a birth wandered I, seeking the builder of this house. Sorrowful indeed is birth again and again." In the Dhammacakka Sutta, his very first discourse, the Buddha, commenting on the second noble truth, states, "This very craving is that which leads to rebirth." The Buddha concludes this discourse with the words, "This is my last birth. Now there is no more rebirths." The Majjhima Nikaya relates that when the Buddha, out of compassion for beings, surveyed the world with his Buddha vision before he decided to teach the Dhamma, he perceived beings who, with fear, view evil and a world beyond. In several discourses, the Buddha clearly states that beings, having done evil, are, after death, born in woeful states, and beings having done good are born in blissful states. Following the Buddha's instructions, his disciples also developed this retrocognitive knowledge and were able to read a limited, though vast, number of their past lives. The Buddha's power in this direction was limitless. Certain Indian rishis, too, prior to the advent of the Buddha, were distinguished for such supernormal powers as clairaudience, clairvoyance, telepathy, telesthesia, and so forth. Although science takes no cognizance of these supernormal faculties, yet, according to Buddhism, men with highly developed mental concentration cultivate these psychic powers and read their past just as one would recall a past incident of one's present life. With their aid, independent of the 5 senses, direct communication of thought and direct perception of other worlds are made possible. Some extraordinary persons, especially in their childhood, spontaneously develop, according to the laws of association, the memory of their past births and remember fragments of their previous lives. Pythagoras is said to have distinctly remembered a shield in a Grecian temple as having been carried by him in a previous incarnation at the siege of Troy. Somehow or other, these wonderful children lose that memory later, as is the case with many infant prodigies. The insights provided by these stories invite us to consider that our present life is not a mere chance event. It is intimately connected to countless past experiences, many of which shape who we are today. Experiences of some dependable modern psychics, ghostly phenomena, spirit communication, strange alternate and multiple personalities also shed some light upon this problem of rebirth. In hypnotic states, some can relate experiences of their past lives, while a few others, like Edgar Cayce of America, were able not only to read the past lives of others, but also to heal diseases. The phenomenon of secondary personalities has to be explained either as remnants of past personal experiences or as possession by an invisible spirit. The former explanation appears more reasonable, but the latter cannot totally be rejected. How often do we meet persons whom we have never before met, but who, we instinctively feel, are familiar to us? How often do we visit places and instinctively feel impressed that we are perfectly acquainted with those surroundings? Reflecting deeply on these feelings may lead us to acknowledge that our connections often transcend a single lifetime. This can remind us of our shared humanity, urging us to cultivate loving kindness and compassion, as our interactions today may ripple through future rebirths. There arise in this world highly developed personalities and perfect ones, like the Buddhas. Could they evolve suddenly? Could they be the products of a single existence? How are we to account for personalities like Confucius, Panini, Buddhaghosa, Homer, and Plato? Men of genius like Kalidasa, Shakespeare, infant prodigies like Ramanujan, Pascal, Mozart, Beethoven, and so forth. Could they be abnormal if they had not led noble lives and acquired similar experiences in the past? Is it by mere chance that they are born of those particular parents and placed under those favorable circumstances? The doctrine of rebirth offers us a profound explanation. Every action we undertake plants seeds for future potential. Genius, virtue, and even challenges we face are not sudden anomalies, but results of past karma. Each moment is a chance for cultivation, shaping not only our current existence, but also countless lives that are yet to come. Infant prodigies, too, seem to be a problem for scientists. Some medical men are of opinion that prodigies are the outcome of abnormal glands, especially the pituitary, the pineal, and the adrenal gland. The extraordinary hypertrophy of glands of particular individuals may also be due to a past karmic cause. But how? By mere hypertrophy of glands, one Christian Heineken could talk within a few hours of his birth, repeat passages from the Bible at the age of 1 year, answer any question on geography at the age of 2, speak French and Latin at the age of 3, and be a student of philosophy at the age of 4. How John Stuart Mill could read Greek at the age of 3. How Macaulay could write a world history at the age of 6. How William James Sidis, wonder child of the United States, could read and write at the age of 2, speak French, Russian, English, German, with some Latin and Greek at the age of 8. How Charles Bennett of Manchester could speak in several languages at the age of 3 are wonderful events incomprehensible to non-scientists. In understanding such phenomena through the lens of rebirth, we see that these abilities are not sudden gifts of chance, but a continuation of cultivated skills and wisdom from past lives. Such insight brings a sense of purpose and motivation. Whatever skill, virtue, or goodness we develop today may continue as our legacy across lifetimes. Nor does science explain why glands should hypertrophy in just a few and not in all. The real problem remains unsolved. Heredity alone cannot account for prodigies, else their ancestry would disclose it. Their posterity, in even greater degree than themselves, would demonstrate it. The theory of heredity should be supplemented by the doctrine of karma and rebirth for an adequate explanation of these puzzling problems. Is it reasonable to believe that the present span of life is the only existence between two eternities of happiness and misery? The few years we spend here, at most but 50 years, must certainly be an inadequate preparation for eternity. The idea of an existence confined to this brief life offers little to explain the vast disparities and unique experiences of individuals. The doctrine of rebirth provides a profound perspective, each life as a chapter in a greater journey, each action weaving the threads of our future. It encourages us to live with intention, to be mindful of each moment, for each of our actions carries the potential to transcend time. If one believes in the present and a future, it is logical to believe in a past. If there be reason to believe that we have existed in the past, then surely there are no reasons to disbelieve that we shall continue to exist after our present life has apparently ceased. It is indeed a strong argument in favor of past and future lives that, in this world, virtuous persons are very often unfortunate and vicious persons prosperous. The cycle of rebirth helps us understand that prosperity or suffering in the present is the fruit of past actions. Such understanding instills patience and resilience. By cultivating wholesome actions now, we shape favorable conditions in the future. It encourages us to engage in noble deeds even when immediate results are unseen, knowing that no effort towards goodness is ever wasted. We are born into the state created by ourselves. If, in spite of our goodness, we are compelled to lead an unfortunate life, it is due to our past evil karma. If, in spite of our wickedness, we are prosperous, it is also due to our past good karma. The present good and bad deeds will, however, produce their due effects at the earliest possible opportunity. A Western writer says, whether we believe in a past existence or not, it forms the only reasonable hypothesis which bridges certain gaps in human knowledge concerning facts of everyday life. Our reason tells us that this idea of past birth and karma alone can explain, for example, the degrees of differences that exist between twins, how men like Shakespeare, with a very limited experience, are able to portray, with marvelous exactitude, the most diverse types of human character, scenes, and so forth, of which they could have no actual knowledge, why the work of the genius invariably transcends his experience, the existence of infant precocity, and the vast diversity in mind and morals, in brain and physique, in conditions, circumstances, and environments, observable throughout the world. This observation reinforces that rebirth is not a dogma, but a lens through which to view the vast spectrum of human experience. It prompts us to reflect on our own actions, recognizing that our present condition is but a snapshot in an ongoing journey, shaped by past actions and paving the way for the future. B. What do karma and rebirth explain? 1. They account for the problem of suffering for which we ourselves are responsible. 2. They explain the inequality of mankind. 3. They account for the arising of geniuses and infant prodigies. 4. They explain why identical twins who are physically alike, enjoying equal privileges, exhibit totally different characteristics, mentally, morally, temperamentally, and intellectually. 5. They account for the dissimilarities amongst children of the same family, though heredity may account for the similarities. 6. They account for the extraordinary innate abilities of some men. 7. They account for the moral and intellectual differences between parents and children. 8. They explain how infants spontaneously develop such passions as greed, anger, and jealousy. 9. They account for instinctive likes and dislikes at first sight. 10. They explain how in us are found a rubbish heap of evil and a treasure house of good. 11. They account for the unexpected outburst of passion in a highly civilized person, and for the sudden transformation of a criminal into a saint. 12. They explain how profligates are born to saintly parents, and saintly children to profligates. 13. They explain how, in one sense, we are the result of what we were, we will be the result of what we are, and, in another sense, we are not absolutely what we were, and we will not be absolutely what we are. 14. They explain the causes of untimely deaths and unexpected changes in fortune. 15. Above all, they account for the arising of omniscient, perfect spiritual teachers, like the Buddhas, who possess incomparable physical, mental, and intellectual characteristics. As we reflect on the journey through the countless lives we have lived, the wisdom of the Buddha reminds us that our present actions are not just isolated events. They shape our future, just as our past deeds have molded our current circumstances. This view of existence as a continuum not only explains the disparities we see around us, but also offers us the opportunity to break free from suffering, striving for liberation. The doctrine of rebirth invites us to see beyond this single fleeting life, urging us to live consciously, cultivating compassion and wisdom. As we understand our actions' far-reaching consequences, we begin to awaken to a deeper truth, the possibility of transforming our own destiny and eventually breaking free from the cycle of birth and death, walking the noble path toward enlightenment. Let us tread this path mindfully, guided by the Buddha's timeless teachings. If you found value in this discussion and want to continue exploring the depth and wisdom of Buddhism, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Cultivating Buddhism, and share your thoughts in the comments. May the teachings of the Buddha bring you peace and guide you on your path to enlightenment.